Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video on the Infineo channel. Hope everyone's doing well. George and I are we were just having a conversation about recent questions and ideas that came up while I was talking to a couple of people about what we do with dividend-paying whole life insurance and the strategies we run for these people and business owners. And we just wanted to kind of record this video because it's very authentic. It comes across in a different way of us telling you what you need and kind of what comes up in interaction with people. And so one of the things that came up was, what is really the difference between individually owned life insurance and corporate owned life insurance? So let's talk about that. Maybe George, get it started with first what we do, because obviously we're a growing company, growing YouTube channel. New people are constantly coming in. Talk about the strategy in which we use dividend-paying whole life insurance for people.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, so Matt and I are just having a conversation, and he is really excited about some of his conversations that he's had recently with some prospects and some clients.
Mm-hmm.
And we get all kinds of questions all the time. So it helps if we can record those conversations and help more than just one person at a time. So that's kind of what we're after here.
Mm-hmm.
But I love Matt's excitement and his enthusiasm. He's gaining some great experience and knowledge on the use of participating whole life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And the strategy that we use, that product, that tool, is infinite banking and turning cash into capital. This is something that Matt mentioned earlier in our conversation before we hit record. Turning cash into capital is huge. So whether it's corporately owned or individually owned depends on the situation, right? Depends on the person, depends on the situation. Everything in this, in what we do, is a depends answer, because there's no cookie cutter. There's no one way. It's infinite. We can do it many, many ways. It's ultimately about what is the problem or the problems that we want to solve. And how can we help you solve your problems? We have a solution. We know we have a solution because we live it and we teach it every single day. What we have to show people is, how does our solution help fix your problem? So individually owned means that you as an individual are the owner, the payer, and you dictate who the beneficiary is going to be. And then you will generally be the life insured. But the life insured can be someone else too that you love and care about. As a business owner, it's that turning cash into capital and making your money work for you. And we have to understand that capital has a value. So when we use someone else's money, they charge us for using their money. But when we have our capital has value too. And if we don't put it to work, we're losing money. We're losing the opportunity of what that money can do for us. So that's kind of one of those problems that we want to solve for both individuals and for corporations. So corporately owned means that the corporation owns the policy on you, the life insured. The corporation is the payer and the corporation is the beneficiary. And there are many, many benefits to doing this corporately. But ultimately, it's about, what problem do you want to solve?
When we do these strategies for people, whether we're just doing it for an individual or corporation, they are trying to solve very similar problems, because the people who are utilizing the strategy are often investors, business owners. Sometimes you put, individual life. That's why we always say it depends. But sometimes we do put individual life insurance contracts on business owners for their own individual life. Just because you own a corporation doesn't mean that we're going to put one or the other. It really depends on your situation.
And our job is to understand you, the individual and the business owner and your corporation, and make sure that our solution is going to meet your needs and solve your problems. So that's ultimately what we're trying to do, right?
You would probably answer this with, well, that depends. But let's say, all things considered, what would be the main primary differences between, or like the things that would stand out between putting corporate owned life insurance and just having an individually owned life insurance policy, let's say on the same person? So like if you take a business owner, they have the same situation. What would make that thing vary where you would say, okay, no, we need to go corporate with this person or individual with the others?
Right. So one of the benefits of having a corporation is that we can defer our tax. We can keep the money inside the corporation and decide when we take it out and decide on that tax liability, the timing of it. So, and also corporations, while the money's inside the corporation, pay less tax, right? So the tax rate is lower. And if you're a small business making less than 500,000, you even have a further reduced tax rate, right? Because you get the small business deduction. So the after-tax dollars inside the corporation are more available. You have more available to you as a corporation because you're paying less tax. So that's one difference. Another big part of corporately owned is the capital dividend account that we have available to us in Canada. So a lot of business owners, it's kind of crazy how few business owners actually know that this exists and fully understand it. So if you're a business owner out there and you don't know about the capital dividend account, talk to your accountant or fire your accountant. Because this is a huge benefit to corporations. So what it means is any capital that you generate inside your corporation that is not taxed, so the 50% that is not taxed, because we have a 50% tax rate on capital gains, goes into this notional account called the capital dividend account. Also, 100% of life insurance proceeds go into that account. And the benefit of that account is that the money coming out of that corporation through the CDA can now be a non-taxable dividend to the remaining shareholders and or beneficiaries. So the tax benefits can become enormous, especially with a corporation. But then where the depends comes in as well is, do you have free and clear cash flow? Do you have retained earnings? What are you doing with those retained earnings? Are they growing for you? Are you putting them to work for you? Do you have an annual tax bill? How are you saving for that annual tax bill? We can show you a better way to flow your cash, turn your cash into capital, deploy your capital to your benefit, not to the benefit of someone else. So that's kind of where we're coming from. Yeah, exactly. And individually, you can do the same thing. It's just slightly different because now you're using after-tax dollars once you get them out of the corporation, or however you're earning your income. It will depend, right? So the tax rates are different. Life insurance proceeds, the death benefit is always 100% tax-free. So whether it's individually owned, corporately owned, it's a tax-free benefit, right? So when you factor in the tax benefits alone, the difference can be enormous. In addition to all the other benefits that, we'd have to be talking here most of the day to talk about all the benefits, right?
Absolutely. I could go on and on about the benefits, even just to what I know. I'm sure George could even do even more than I can. But what I got out of that is a lot of people are going to be calling their accountants and asking a lot more questions.
Which is not a bad thing.
Which is not a bad thing. Asking
Right.
questions is good. You find out about the person. Hey, is this person really right for me who's managing my money?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I'm really not traditional when it comes to talking to people about whole life insurance, and my practice. Obviously, when I was first getting started, is very streamlined, follow the rules and all this. Still follow the rules, of course. But what I really like to do is find out what's really pushing some of these business owners. And what I'm realizing is there's a lot more emotion that goes into money than people think. And so what I really like about what we do with whole life insurance and the strategies that we run for people within the product and out is that it relieves a lot of stress. it relieves a lot of people's problems, obviously, which relieves people's stress. I came out of a conversation recently with someone who had the world, I'd say, like someone who's very wealthy, had a lot, but then realized, I want to do more. I want to make a bigger impact than just, wealth and all this. And so I just got talking with them, and I just realized the benefits in which we kind of use whole life insurance. It's different than just wealth building. It gives you peace of mind. You have more opportunities. There's things that you can do, like with charitable donations, all these things. There's strategies that you can run that you can't just do. You can't just think of in a traditional savings account. You have just more options, I'd say, to deploy your capital instead of cash. Helping people solve their emotional problems is almost, a really big solution, or as big of a solution for their financial problems and physical problems, right?
Absolutely. And they go hand in hand, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So our physical and our mental and our emotional and spiritual are all connected, right? So, if one is floundering, then the whole flounders, right? So absolutely. And as we know, in this world, financial problems cause emotional problems, cause stress, cause mental problems, right? Which can turn into physical problems. So it's huge. Like that peace of mind, the freedom, the opportunity, the choices, the flexibility, all of those things don't necessarily have a tangible number that you can assign to them, but their value cannot be underestimated, right? Or even overestimated, I should say. Can't be under or overestimated. The value is incredible. So yeah, I mean, the whole concept, the whole idea, everything that we're trying to do as Infineo is to help people, help solve their problems, provide them solutions, provide them choice, options, flexibility. That all is part of the plan. Absolutely.
The thing about George and I, we actually practice what we preach. The people at the bank are going to set you up with these products that they're not using. And it's kind of funny because, like, put yourself in their shoes. Imagine selling a product to someone and saying how amazing it is, and that you're not practicing it yourself. So something that gives me really a lot of confidence in, dividend paying whole life insurance and the policy that I own is that every time I ask for a policy loan, they give it to me. No credit checks, no ifs, ands, or buts. That money is deposited in my account.